Two men cradling each other inside a foxhole.
I'm not getting pegged. This isn't this isn't Deadpool. Coming at you from sunny Southern California, this is the Keeg. I'm your host, Dimithri Perera, and today I have some really juicy geek news to go over, but I can't do this alone. That's why I have brought on two of my lovely guests. I have Sam Young. Say hi, Sam.
Hi, Sam.
Damn it, Sam. You're such a smart ass. Should we be looking forward to your smart ass comments this whole time?
No,
this
not
whole
at all.
episode?
You look forward to my dumbass comments.
Okay. Dumbass or smartass?
Dumbass.
Okay.
Just VR porn from here on out.
We're going to talk about VR porn today. We're not. We're not. That's all Sam wants to talk about. I also have my even lovelier guest, Paul Lau.
Hello. Hello.
Paul, you are so lovely.
Oh, lovely. Fantastic.
Your wispy hair. Just so handsome.
Okay, I'm melting into a pile of my own self-loathing.
Thank you guys so much for being on the show. There have been some recent developments in the last week, and I wanted to talk about something that was near and close to all of our hearts, which is Adam West. R.I.P. Adam West. He died yesterday. He passed away. I already said die, so I can't really like lessen that by saying he passed away because I already said the D word. But he will be missed. I know that we all have memories that we've obviously all knew him he's been in the studio before, recorded a couple episodes. No, we didn't know him personally, but I don't know. I felt like we did in a way. Yeah. Growing up, watching the '66 Batman, and watching, and like later when he did this resurgence with Family Guy and his voice and Mayor West, and I don't know, he meant a lot to a lot of us. I know that that show was like the first time I ever saw Batman on TV, because I was born in 1988, and Batman the Animated Series came out in '92, but there's a good 4 years there where na 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 Batman was all I would say, right?
Yeah, he was, for a lot of people, he was everyone's first Batman, and he was absolutely the brightest incarnation of the Dark Knight. He was the Bright Knight. It's kind of sad. You won't see that anymore now that he's passed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's quite the wordsmith. I don't remember if you remember his alliterations and his little sides. Yeah, he definitely is. He brings a respectability to the campiness of the '70s and or '60s. Sorry,
'60s. Yeah,
'60s. Whoops.
It was a different time back then.
Yeah, Super Friends came out when?
I think it was '70s.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, he kind of set the tone for the Super Friends. And we should admire that.
Definitely.
Absolutely set the tone for a lot of what we saw in comic screen things until Frank Miller kind of came up with The Dark Knight and just comics took a different turn.
Yeah. I remember when I was a teenager, I guess I had a different view on Adam West than I do now, in the sense that being a big Batman fan growing up, obviously when I was a really little kid, it's the '66 Batman, right? And my parents used to watch it with me, right? And so that's also the Batman that they remember. Though I swear I brought up Adam West to my mom and she didn't remember who he was. I'm like, well, we watched it when I was a kid, but I don't know. Maybe I had better memory when I was 3 years old than she did at 20 something. But the point being is that I don't know. When I was a teenager, I was like, why'd this show even have to exist, right? Because this wasn't the Batman that I knew. Because after '66 Batman, I used to watch the Batman the animated series, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's the Batman for me.
That's your quintessential Batman,
right?
I would think for a lot of us too. You only hear Conroy's voice, that's your Batman.
Yeah,
that's absolutely before Bale, before anyone else. Affleck.
Bale's voice, yeah. Affleck's.
There was this smooth, Kevin Conroy Batman.
It's like an anvil. Do you guys have a Conroy impression?
I don't.
I don't even think my voice can get
Oh.
that buttery.
Do you have a
smooth.
Conroy impression?
Yeah, it's when he talks to Terry McGinnis when he's like, "I need a gopher, as it were.
Oh
A
my
go for
God.
this, a go for that. Something like you, McGinnis." Like,
Okay,
Not
yeah,
I really
bad.
just like that
Close my eyes.
Anvil, you know. What do you call yourself? I call myself Batman in my dreams. That's how I knew it was a lie.
Yeah. I remember that episode. And like, I don't know. So I went through this angsty phase in the sense that like it's kind of like hating your parent,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So like, I hated 66 Batman. I hated it because I
Love your
was like,
parents.
everybody.
Eat your parents, kill your parents.
I felt like I was like, everybody thinks of Bam, Kapow, whatever. Like Batman, like that Batman messed it up for everything. What I like realize now is that it was so. Maybe Batman wouldn't be around now if it wasn't for that. Like it catapulted Batman into like iconic status, right? Like to a point where like Superman didn't even reach there until like Christopher Reeve's movie, you know? And like 66 Batman did something, and that it we wouldn't have Batman the animated series without that, because you can't come back from the brightness to darkness without the brightness in the first place, right?
It's like the problem I'm having with like kids not knowing Looney Tune cliches or any cliche to know that the stuff that we're doing now is making fun of it. So to have that as like the staple, you know.
Yeah, it's
to
the
draw from.
backbone of our current like our Batman mythos now.
Right.
It's like you built off of this. Like the Batman Rogues Gallery was like a prominent force in the '60s Batman, and that kind of paved the way for how revered they are now in comic canon.
Yeah. Egghead. You guys remember Vincent Price? Excellent. Mm.
Egghead.
Exactly.
What a horrible name.
I'm
What
gonna
a
let you have that.
what a horrible
Yolks
name
on
for a
it.
villain that they used it for two different villains in two different universes.
Yeah.
There's Egghead in Ant-Man, and there's Egghead in Batman.
Ooh, are you spitting bars right now?
Oh man, don't get me started.
Oh, you're scrambling the
Yeah.
universes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he
Scram-
was-
oh, that was a yoke.
Oh man.
So
I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna let
I'm
it
gonna let it. Yeah. So all I know is that I hated on it for a while, and I realized a little bit later the important pop culture impact that it had, and how it contributed to the longevity. And that was really, you know, sure there was a lot more actors in that show, and they got a lot of really great actors for that. But Adam West really was the driving force, right? It wasn't Burt Ward. I'm sorry, Burt Ward, if you're out there listening, but it was Adam West, and like he changed it all. And I think that, you know, he's in Batman Hall of Fame because of it.
Yeah, he played the Gray Ghost in an episode of the animated series, and he had his own DC movie for 66 Batman. Also came out.
Yeah, the cartoon movie. Yeah,
Cartoon movie, recent, like last
Yeah.
year. So,
yeah. He will be missed.
yes. Goodbye, old chum. In a pre 9/11 though, do you remember when he had that bomb? He was just running around.
You're just
in
running
movie.
through the
He's
city,
just
like
Yeah.
there's nuns, and then there's like a band, a marching band, and he's just like, it's just not a good day to get rid of a bomb.
And he tries to throw it in the water, but there's ducklings.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah. I mean, that's a legit good, joke.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Definitely.
can't do it nowadays.
Well, yeah. It's because of those ducklings.
Those
PETA would get really upset.
Oh, I know. Gossip.
no ducklings are harmed in the making of this
Yeah.
podcast.
Affleck.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck.
Affleck.
So there's moving on from the passing away of cultural icon. There are some recent developments in video games right now. I know that basically the Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer just came out. And any of you guys big fans of Kingdom Hearts at all?
I played the first
Yeah,
one.
me too.
When you walk away, yeah, you don't hear me say, please, oh baby. Is no one else going to chime in?
I
mean,
can't
liked
hit the falsetto.
Oh, okay.
So
But I do like the beats. The beats were nice.
To be honest, I don't remember anything. I got Kingdom Hearts 1 from Blockbuster. I rented it, and I didn't get too far in it, and I gave back, and that was my extent. I know that a lot of people love it, and Kingdom Hearts 3 is something that people have been waiting a long time for.
Long time.
But, we'll see how that goes. I know that coming to the Nintendo Switch is Pokken Tournament DX, which is kind of like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe did, bringing back a Pokken Tournament, but for the next console. And also Pokemon Ultra Moon and Ultra Sun to the 3DS. That is a new development. They haven't really said exactly what. They kind of threw out this trailer that was mostly about some kid who's trying to like run across I don't know. He was like
whose parents clearly have no regard for his personal safety. Like, yeah, go on, just don't talk to strangers.
yeah. Are we talking about Ash? Are we talking about Pokemon in general?
Just Pokemon in general.
Yeah. Don't talk to
Where are
strangers.
these
That's
people's
all you do.
parents?
I don't know. That's all you do though.
That's
talk
all
to
you do. You're
strangers.
just like, hey, you want to battle?
Yeah.
It's like, no, I just want to get past this boulder.
Yeah.
Well, this is after the war, right? The Pokemon conspiracy.
Yeah.
where-
The Great War.
The Great War.
The fan theory?
Yeah, the fan theory.
Yeah, yeah. So that's something to look forward to, and know that when we get more information, we'll come out back to you guys to talk more about it. I'm excited. I'm excited for most things Pokemon.
So it wasn't Pokemon and Tekken? That's
What?
what I thought
Okay.
Pokken was.
That is.
Oh,
that is
okay.
what it is. Yeah.
Okay.
They released the other one for Wii U, the first one,
okay.
and this one's not really a sequel, but it's more like a re-release, upgraded version, right? Dealing with what the Switch can do. So yeah, it's Pokemon.
Which has
and
anyone
Tekken.
been on a Switch yet? Like they're amazing.
What?
Yeah.
You guys have played on a Switch, right?
I've played a little bit, but
It's phenomenal. Like
Yeah.
I'm not usually one for upgrading to the next console as soon as it comes out, but I played, and I think it was the new Mario Kart, and it's spectacular. That
Yeah.
tiny controller can do so much.
yeah. I want to get it. I'm a big fan of Nintendo, and I'm a big fan of getting every console when it comes out. But I just haven't for this one.
The power of the three.
Yeah,
It's great. And the screen capability, where you just you take it with you. I'm just like, what? We're living in the future.
Yeah.
This is it.
I want to get
Crystal Pepsi's here.
the Marvel Lego 2 game. Have you guys played any of the
Marvel
Lego games?
I
But
played the
there's
first
the
Marvel Lego.
Marvel, Lego Marvel 2 is coming out, and it all has to do with Kang the Conqueror. So
Oh.
it has to do with alternate universes, so they can throw all those characters in. Talking like Spider-Man 2099 and all that stuff. So that's another thing to look forward to. It's not out yet. I'm gonna get the Nintendo Switch definitely for that. And then there's some other games I want to get, but the Switch is all sold out where I am,
Yeah.
where I'm living. So it is what it is. Recent development in comic books: Batman. Spoiler alert. Come back in 5 minutes if you don't. If you read the Batman comics and you don't want to get spoiled. Batman proposes to Catwoman in the recent issue. Basically, the issue is just about how Batman is afraid himself, right? Of things. He has fear, right? And it humanizes him, and in the end, he proposes to Catwoman. What do you guys think about that? How do you guys feel about that?
I am tainted by the Injustice 2 Catwoman ending. So she marries him in that universe on that video game, and then she gets bored because that's the nature
Yeah.
of Selena. She's in it for the thrill. I mean,
it stops becoming. There's no chase. There's no the cat and mouse game's over.
Exactly. The cat and the flying mouse game is just
Yeah.
puts.
Yeah.
Also with bastard son Damien,
Yeah.
floating around.
It's kind of hard knowing, hey Talia, you wanna pick up your kid?
Detective. That was so creepy when Ra's al Ghul was inside Talia's body and he was all kissing Dick. Or kissing Dick Grayson.
Well, she was probably kissing
Well.
Dick. We didn't see. But yeah. So
Raz is just. Can we just all agree that he's just creepy in general?
Who, Ra's al Ghul?
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Okay,
He's
what's your definitive version
foreign.
of how you say Roz? Is it
Okay,
Raish?
I say Raish because of the animated series.
Yeah.
Okay, I say Roz because that's how I read the comics and I'm ignorant and I'm just oh Roz because that's just what.
Yeah.
It's comics. I mean, I think either way is fine. But Ra's al Ghul is what?
In Batman
But
Begins, they
mine is
call it
wrong.
they literally call them both. They say Raish and they say Raz in Batman Begins. And in Arrow, I think they say both.
Ra's al Ghul.
Not race on.
But all the white people are just Roz.
Yeah.
He's just like
Oh, Roz.
Ra-
Hello. I'm listening.
I just had an idea of a new reboot. It's Friends, but it would star Rachel, Monica, Chandler, Joey, Phoebe, and Roz.
That's the reason they can afford the apartment.
Because it's League of Assassins money.
Rach, look, I'm really sorry, but
Did you say Rach or did you say Rach?
Wait, Raish? There's Rachel. There's
Rachel
Roz.
and Roz.
They're both Ra's al Ghul playing dual roles,
Shenanigans.
a la Eddie Murphy. So,
Hercules.
where were we with that? Okay, so basically, yes, Batman proposed to Catwoman. I don't know whether she would get tired. Like, okay, I can see that she would get tired of him.
She's an outdoor
But
cat.
but in
don't put
Earth
that
2, in
indoors?
original pre-crisis Earth 2,
Okay.
they team up and they fight crime together, and then they can still have thrills by fighting crime together. Catwoman also in the comics has kind of been reformed, right? She still has that like she's almost anti-hero in a way, but like she still has those like compulsions, but you know,
Well, that's where she fits in the rogues gallery.
Yeah.
Kleptomania.
right,
So,
right.
how do you deal with that?
How do you feel, Sam, about the proposal?
I mean, I feel like it's always been. It's hard for me when comics or mythos or anything kind of takes on a hard stance on something. We were talking about hard opinions earlier. I just wanted to throw the word hard in.
Yeah.
Thank you for that beautiful noise. I'm sure that's exactly what ended the engagement proposal. That's how it ended on the rooftop. Just those noises.
I only have one hand.
And it's hard for me because like the Harry Potter series, like I didn't want to know what happened in the end. Like there's just some things you like to have open ended, and I think for me, like the relationship between Selena and Bruce has always been one of those things where I like that it's never been resolved. Like there's constantly circling each other, and it's never been like this one set thing. And I think for me, like the proposal kind of puts a damper on all that they could be and could experience together. But
Well, you know DC's track record, right?
yeah, oh God, it'll be
Girlfriend
rebooted
in a
anyway.
freezer.
Oh,
So
please don't.
I'm
Treat
just
your
saying.
women
As opposed
better,
to Marvel?
DC.
Well, they created it with the Green Lantern because
Yeah,
both
well-
girlfriends were murdered in their kitchens. So once they domesticated,
And didn't Leanne, didn't she wind up in an actual freezer?
No, it wasn't Leanne. It was Alex from
No,
Kyle
I'm-
Rayner's Green Lantern.
No, I'm talking about Roy's daughter.
Oh, Leanne.
Didn't she wind up in an actual freezer? I forget. I just remember.
No, I thought she was
being
just like.
enraged.
I thought, yeah, Prometheus just killed her. I don't remember if they put her in a fridge, but that's why Gail Simone was the one who created Woman in Refrigerator or like Woman in Fridge, that they're fridging someone basically to further the plot of the male character you just kill the female characters, so they're expendable, right?
Yeah.
And so
Which absolutely happened in the last season of or the last episode of Gotham. Spoiler. I mean, I
okay,
won't
don't tell me.
say, but-
So anyway, well, don't. I'm saying don't tell me. I kind of gave up on Gotham, but I'm gonna get back to
Oh,
it.
it's.
Don't.
I won't. I won't
Is
say
it
anything.
good? Is it?
So
is this
why-
season
It's
good?
hit or miss.
why don't
is
you
always-
like Gotham?
Yeah, let's talk about why you don't.
I'm sorry. I know that we're getting sidetracked,
Yeah,
but this
yeah,
is
yeah.
super interesting.
No. It's not that I don't like it. I mean, I don't like it, but I thought it had potential. My personal thing is, okay, when Smallville like came and went, and that was a different time in which you couldn't do a straightforward hero show, right?
No
And now I
capes.
feel like you can. You can do this straightforward hero show. DC's doing all of it, right? So you don't necessarily need this like Smallville type story where like they never put it was no fights, no tights.
Yeah, no fights,
that
no
was
tights,
that was
yeah.
Smallville. You don't need that. Just like Heroes, when they did the Heroes Reborn series or the season, you don't need heroes anymore. We don't need this like side story of heroes because we have actual heroes now.
Right.
Heroes was when there wasn't a X-Men TV show or a Flash TV show or whatever, right?
A Legion.
You know, and so you don't have to. We don't need that anymore. So when Smallville ended, I remember being like, well, you know, it'd be cool. One of two things. I would love a Batman show that focused on the police in modern time where Batman is Batman, right? Not police before Batman, but like police.
Poor
You want Law and
GCPD.
Order.
I wanted,
with Batman.
You wanted Law,
Gotham.
It was
Law and Order
Gotham Central, right?
Or Gotham PD.
Yeah, but we're talking like superpowered crimes, that sort of thing, right? There was literally a comic run called Gotham Central.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I wanted. Or a show about Bruce Wayne before he was Batman, but training and literally.
Well, you're getting aspects of that in Gotham now.
But it's not the same.
Oh, but he's
what
so
Gotham
good.
is both of those put together, but minus the parts that I wanted. So we have focusing on we're focusing on the cops before Batman instead of during Batman. And we're focusing on Bruce Wayne not training.
We're focusing on why you should never be a police officer at the GCPD because the turnover rate is obscene.
Well, yes. Well, I mean, that's
where do they keep finding bodies to fill that precinct?
I would expect you don't think the pay would have to be high, right? There's something drawing people to Gotham.
Well, some of those cops are corrupt, so they're filling them in. And then they had like a whole episode where they had like like a special task force. Yeah. And it's a bunch, and they each had their little story, like, oh, my shop got, robbed, and I feel like this is my duty in honor of something. So you have these,
Well, in the comics, Gotham's supposed to be like the rape capital of the world, the murder capital of the world, the like literally everything, burglary capital of the world.
Why
like,
would you live in Gotham,
that's
capital of the world?
Yeah.
People live in Philadelphia, and
But they don't.
Boston.
None of these cities are literally like number one in everything bad.
It's funny you say that because my whole thing with Gotham is that there's these grandiose parade floats filled with poison gas, and the fish have smiles on them.
Yeah.
And people are just like, I have an early morning tomorrow, but if Azrael is going to have like a burning batarang, stabbing my window, I got heavier curtains for that, Just like how weird and wackadoo Gotham is already. Maybe it draws crazy people, or it's just like, this is San Francisco.
This is
all
just
our
what you do.
crackheads, have tubas.
I feel like most of the people in Gotham would have to go through their life being like, well, this probably won't happen to me, right? Like they have to like weigh the odds, being like, well, I'm going to work today and I'm probably not going to die. Like you have to like be like, well, maybe that happens that one part of town. It rarely happens, right? You have to like trick yourself. If you're going to live in Gotham, you'd have to be like, I'm going to go work at the laundromat today. I know that like if I keep my head down, nobody's going to bother me as I walk to work, right? And I feel like that's most crime-ridden cities in general.
Yeah.
And like, okay, like these freaks, they come out, but like normally they like go after like people that they have a vendetta about, right? Maybe you're tricking yourself into thinking that way.
Yeah.
All I can say is I thoroughly enjoy Gotham. It's my trash baby show.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
Because I'm
it's
that
like-
way with Heroes of Tomorrow.
They're trash baby shows, and I feel like it's totally acceptable for you to have a show that isn't quite living up to its potential, but you find some sick enjoyment in watching it regardless. And I have to say, like, trash baby show though it is, the storyline that they're doing with Alfred and Bruce is just phenomenal.
I've been
violence
hearing
on
things
that
don't
is nuts.
It's
don't
insane. Like, I didn't know you could get away with some of the
You
stuff
can
that they do on
make
network
people
TV.
eat people and not be South Park? That's insane.
okay, don't spoil it, but when is it coming on Netflix? Does anyone know?
Yeah, season 2 and 1 are both on Netflix right now, and you can watch everything on Hulu.
I've watched 1 and 2, and I watched a couple episodes into season 3, and that's when I stopped. So now it's end of season 3, right? They finished season 3. So
finished
I need to
season
watch
3.
season 3. My opinion about Batman and Catwoman is I'm fine with it. Let's see them further that. They're not gonna. It's not gonna end with them. They're not gonna get. They're not gonna fridge her because she's such an important character. But also that they're gonna
Damian.
break
I was
up.
supposed to say I'm like any one of the Robins.
Yeah. Red Hood before Red Hood.
I just think that it's not like they're gonna get married and have kids anymore. Like
That-
it's gonna end at some point.
I don't need
That was
any
actually
more
a
kids.
storyline.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was Earth 2.
Yeah,
that was Earth 2.
Earth
They
2.
got
Couldn't
married.
need
They had
any
a
more
kid. They
kids
had
in
Helen
that
and Wayne.
Freaking Wayne Manor.
Yeah. So that's something. Batman's proposing Catwoman. I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know why it's not on Fox News right now. So, is it not? It's not big enough.
VR porn.
Yeah.
VR porn.
Always bringing it back to that. Something about VR porn, but no, it's not about VR porn.
Cyclops seems to have trouble with
So, for
Optic Blast.
well, Optic Blast could be something else. That one-eyed monster. All right, so
It also has a little crystal visor,
okay, that's gross.
ruby quartz.
We're gonna move on past this
We're
topic.
gonna segue.
Yeah, we're going to segue. Something interesting that's happening in video games right now, at least in Marvel video games. So, Marvel has not recently, but in the past 5 to 7 years, right, had an embargo on certain characters that they wouldn't allow them into their mainstream video games, right? So, as you guys know out there, Fox deals with X-Men movies and Fantastic Four movies, and Marvel is dealing with everything else, and they are not allowed to overlap. In the comics, they do, but in their video games, they're trying to essentially not have them appear. So it's just Marvel characters in those Marvel video games. Unless they're like sequels to games. Like Marvel vs. Capcom has X-Men characters, right?
Yeah.
And
Fantastic Four.
so that when they do a sequel to Marvel vs. Capcom, they're still going to do that. But here's the thing: is that in their newer games, they've not been including Fantastic Four or X-Men. So there's a game on iPad and iPhone, right, called Marvel Future Fight, and that's kind of you go around and it's kind of a button masher type of thing, and you just like fight. Well, it started off with literally no Fantastic Four characters, no X-Men characters, but recently they've announced that they're going to include the 92 X-Men lineup.
Jim Lee.
Yeah. So we're talking. I mean, we're talking the cartoon, right?
Yeah.
Like Beast. Well, I mean, they were both interconnected, right? Beast, Gambit, Cyclops, Wolverine.
Everyone with a trench coat.
Yeah.
Everyone with yellow and blue
and pouches.
And pouches.
Yeah. So basically, they're going to include the 92 X-Men in that lineup, which is really interesting because there was an embargo, and I mean, there's still Fantastic Four is nowhere to be seen, but they're adding these X-Men characters in. So what happened to this embargo? There's Avengers Academy, which is another game. That's the game I play religiously on my iPad. That honestly, that does not have Fantastic Four characters and it does not have X-Men characters, though they recently have hinted in the story of the game that there's an academy out there featuring outcast-powered people. So I think that, I mean, that could be hinting at X-Men or it could be hinting at really anything else. Because in Avengers Academy, everyone's young, everyone's powered, and everybody
supple and ready to touch each other.
Yeah, that's true because they're
Even
all
Rogue.
they're all in relationships, but they're all in different academies, and they come into Avengers Academy. The point being is that what happened to this embargo? Sam, you were saying that there was something about Fantastic Four that you dealt with recently.
Oh yeah, well not recently. I think it was a year or two ago because I play Legendary, which is the deck building game for
Yeah.
Marvel, and they had released a Fantastic Four pack, which is it's gone. Like you can't find it anywhere. It was like on the shelves for a blip moment, and then something happened, and they were like, "Hey, by the way, copyrights exist, and you can't do this." And now I think you can't find that deck, and it's like $200 on like eBay. It's insane.
no.
Yeah,
That's why Barnes and Nobles had them on clearance because I was like, because the expansion packs will throw them in the big bin.
Oh,
That's
Oh,
crazy. I'm
that's-
pretty sure that's probably why.
yeah.
are you allowed to use them in official play?
You know, I don't know. I don't compete.
I don't think there's a.
I don't think they do that.
Yeah,
there not?
Because it's co-op.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's a LCG,
What's an LCG?
living card game.
What?
So you're constantly. It's always you'll never have the same deck of heroes.
Right. It's like a plot line. You each get a hero, and then you have to combat the big bad, and then you count points at the end. Kind of like Mario Party.
Yeah.
I
yeah,
mean,
Mario,
in a way,
like a card game Mario Party.
You can screw the other person over, or you can help them. So Mario Party, Munchkin-esque.
Okay.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, and I mean, we'll play it another day. I literally bought an X-Men Munchkin. Like, there's a
Oh!
literal X-Men brand like Munchkin, where your like race and class are like, you know, you're a human or a mutant or like a brotherhood or whatever.
Who wants
Like,
to be human?
well, whatever. But I mean, whatever. They have teams as
I do. I'll be
classes. I
Moira.
think no teams as races. But the point being is that like,
Okay.
I have not played it yet. I have not opened it yet. But it's a 2 to 4 player game, and I'm excited. So maybe we'll film it sometime.
With Will Wheaton.
Yeah. X-Men, really interesting, is the upcoming X-Men Phoenix movie, right? I don't know the actually going name of it. Originally, working title was Supernova, but the point being is that that was the working title, like Blue Harvest for Star Wars, right?
Okay. Fine.
All right, calm down, Paul Lau.
Oh, man, isn't that the name of a Herald of Galactus?
Supernova?
I think it's just Nova.
No, it's just Nova. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
yeah.
Nova.
It's Frankie Nova.
Frankie Nova.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was the girl, and then Human Torch and her had a thing. Anyway, the point being is that they're supposed to introduce the Shi'ar, which means aliens and alien empires will be coming to the
So
X-Men
exciting.
movies. Are you excited about
I'm
that?
excited. I love anything in space. They took Power Rangers to space. I know people are like, bye. This is where I leave. And I'm like, yes, give me space things. I think Guardians of the Galaxy absolutely set up this potential for us to be okay in a universe where you're allowed to go to different planets. And I think now that everyone's well versed in Star Wars and everyone is like quasi on the Star Trek train. I don't hear a lot of people talking about it for some reason, but we're okay seeing new worlds and we're okay seeing different races, and I think it'd be really awesome for us to see that in a Fox movie if they can get their stuff together.
Does that work though with the current X-Men universe? That the clusterfuck that it is, because they have fucked over time. Now are they going to fuck over space?
Days of Future Past really was. You know what's weird? I felt like they were still holding back, even though it was bizarre how they like did it. Like Blink, they didn't just go full pink, and no, they're just like she got a jewel on her head, and her bangs are dyed.
She was pink, dude. She was pink.
She was completely pink. I thought she had just
was
pink
like-
stripes.
No, she was like pinkish.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't say she was like pink in the like,
The magenta way
Yeah.
that she is in the comic.
Yeah, well, that's
but
how
like
I,
almost like
yeah.
a bubble, like Princess Bubblegum pink almost.
I don't
Okay.
think you can
was, like,
say that
light.
X-Men doesn't do that, because like Nightcrawler and Beast were full blue.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know?
True.
Like they've done like full
I
makeup.
guess-
Mystique, even though most of the time she's out of blue now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
she's
yeah.
Jennifer
You're
Lawrence
right.
now, but like I don't know. Days of Future Past was amazing. It's still one of my favorite superhero movies in general. Days of Future Past, like it's one of my favorites.
Wow.
It cleared up a lot, and then Logan came up, and Logan messed up
And-
the timeline again. So I don't know what's going on.
Oh, you thought Logan messed it up? I thought it was. Just
Yeah,
in
if that's
Elseworlds.
no, but you can't do Elseworlds in movies
Why not?
because the mainstream public doesn't know what to do with alternate universes. It's not a mainstream concept.
Have we reached the point though where I mean, you could technically say that Deadpool was another Elseworlds
No.
because well, you haven't seen.
The house has
Yeah, the
exploded
house-
a bazillion times.
Yeah. It's not an Elseworlds.
And
Deadpool
then-
takes place in the X-Men universe. Like the only thing different is Colossus, but that's how he
Right.
looks and like his voice. But he didn't do much in the movies anyway. Right? He just says the house has exploded
I
a bunch
just
of
feel
times,
like
right?
No,
I
they
feel like the
acknowledged
Fox
it.
franchises they don't care. They're just
They don't care. That's the
and
problem.
that's fine. I mean, it's great for like one shots like the Logan film, which was
Yeah.
phenomenal. If we can get more of that and more of Deadpool, I'm a-okay with whatever they want to do. They have a great formula for the one shots.
If they treat them as one shots, but now with this way of doing shared universes and whatnot, Elseworlds and alternate universes don't work unless it's part of a movie in which you like rewrite it.
Well, they
So
did
Days
that
of Future
with-
Past.
DC's doing Elseworlds all the time. Like you've got a complete separation of TV and movie canon.
Yeah. But at least those are different mediums. But we're talking Logan and the X-Men movies, right? It's just kind of weird. And like what changed? Like the end of the Wolverine, like when Charles and Eric come to Logan, we never see that continue. We never see the girl is it Yuriko or Yukio? Is it Yukio? You never see her again. So the point being is like, there's so many like drop balls in X-Men's like court. So
I think they're just trying
Are
to
they-
cram too much.
yeah.
You know,
So they can't tell a simple story about like X-Men to me is about like civil unrest and like political like intrigue,
Which
right?
is why I think X-Men 2 is still my favorite. Like that is like the quintessential X-Men film for me because it touched on all of that. Like everything we loved about X-Men, you found in X2.
I felt they didn't go far enough.
in X1, it was so different for me from anything else I had seen. And there was Spider-Man that came out relatively close to that time, and I was
Yeah.
like,
A
"Oh,
couple years later.
yeah, Spider-Man." I knew it. It was kind of like I kind of zoned out at parts. I'm like, Uncle Ben, we get it. Responsibility or
Yeah.
great power.
Yeah.
And then with X1, I'm like, I didn't know these two characters could have this relationship.
Yeah.
Wolverine and Rogue. And I really like enjoyed that. And then in X2, I was like, oh, well, let's see him stab a bunch of people on a refrigerator. I mean, that's what I took away. And then Magneto empowering Pyro. I thought those were really cool little scenes. And then after that,
Well, I think the pyro dynamic was what really hooked me in X2 because you saw this outsider who wasn't fitting in. And I think one of my favorite, not scenes, but like I think glimpses that Singer offered us is when Pyro's standing in front of Bobby's family portrait. And you see his reflection in it, and you know, like, this is an outsider who was never known. And it's like that one shot, and I'm like, this encompasses the entire film.
yeah, the Brotherhood essentially was that. And then Morlocks never get mentioned until the
Well,
third one.
Morlocks are X-Men 3 but they barely do like anything with that.
What's X-Men 3? We don't talk
don't
about that.
But Brett Ratner made the Rush Hour
Brett
franchises.
Oh, man. So yes. So I think that's just a question to think about in the short term. Is X-Men ready to go to space?
They can do it.
Yeah.
I mean, Hulk is about to go to
Planet Hulk.
Planet Hulk.
Let's just call it what it is.
fine,
It's
though.
Planet Hulk. Like it's
Yeah.
not the Thor movie. It's Planet Hulk.
with
Where-
pinkies. And, it's gonna be great.
I'm so excited.
I'm excited for Thor 3. But I also love Kate Blanchett. So Miss Blanchett, if you're out there, I would love to have you on the show. Maybe I can take you for dinner
I'd just love to
afterwards.
have you.
I don't care. She's amazing. Anyway, moving on. Just a really quick thing. If you guys have ever seen the Snowpiercer movie, there's going to be a Snowpiercer TV show coming to TNT. Didn't know that.
Jumping on that franchise train.
Literal train right there. Literal franchise train. And Jennifer Connelly is going to be in it, which is weird because I can't remember the last time she's been on TV. But she's going to be in it. I don't know whether it's even worth commenting on. We'll see what happens with the Snowpiercer pilot, but
It's
the movie was all right.
Is that the first post-apocalyptic like teen sci-fi made for television show?
I don't even know if it's like it was
It's not
teen.
yeah, it's not
Yeah.
teen.
Well, it feels like in the same vein as like the what are those called? Those movies called with the maze. There's Maze Runner,
Yeah.
and then there's the other one, Convergence or whatever.
Oh, Divergent.
Divergent.
Yeah.
And I feel like it has that like dystopian, like hardcore allegory.
I mean, you're absolutely tapping into like a dystopian like piece because it does take place in that world of beyond like the modern era where like everything's collapsed and you're left with what you see. But I wouldn't classify it as like a teen thing by any stretch of the imagination.
That is a mislabel.
But no, you're right. It is dystopian.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just something worth looking into later, I guess. We'll see when the pilot comes out, whether it's even worth watching. Something that was worth watching, and the numbers have shown it. Wonder Woman beat The Mummy this weekend. It's the first weekend for The Mummy, but it's the second weekend for Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman still beat it. Yeah. I was a big fan of the Wonder Woman movie. Last episode we went over it, but I'm sure you guys have something.
I cried in every fight scene. It was one of the most powerful things I've ever seen on screen.
Yeah.
Like watching another woman beat ass the way that she did was breathtaking. I didn't know I needed it or it was something that was lacking in my world until it was shown to me, and I was just like, I can't imagine cinema now without scenes like this.
It's a game changer. It's a game
I
changer.
cried too. The parallels to the Syrian war with the gas and just killing their own people. I was really just like, oh, this is hitting me more than I expected. And just how she inspired people.
Oh, yes.
Where Man of Steel did not do.
No.
She did everything that Superman was supposed to do and didn't.
I think she improved upon the Captain America aesthetically for a war film because that blue laser, and it really took a lot away. And they did like a montage of them fighting each battle. And I know that it was 4 days mission, but I don't know, emotionally, the emotional journey was just phenomenal.
There was a realism in this movie that was not prevalent in Captain America: The First Avenger, because and I pointed this out and I tweeted it maybe a year ago when it happened. Basically, it took the Marvel Cinematic Universe up until Peggy or Agent Carter season 2 to admit that racism existed in that universe.
You're talking
like-
about the Doctor?
The Doctor in season 2 of
Yeah,
Agent
yeah,
Carter,
yeah.
Where it
but
touched
before-
on it immediately
Yeah.
in Diane or in Wonder Woman.
Yeah, but in Captain America: The First Avenger, like all these races are getting together and they're just fighting Nazis because if there's one thing that like defeats racism, it's like we can all hate Nazis together. No,
Well, the Hydra even distanced themselves away from the Nazis.
Yeah.
So you're like, where?
it's like Red Skull's not a Nazi; he's Hydra.
Yeah.
And then you have
No, he's a
Hydra
Nazi.
sympathizers. Well, I mean, it's a lot like
Spencer.
All right.
we won't say names, but the point being is there's
Spencer
people that
Gifts.
are Nazis that aren't Nazis that are Nazis, and let's
Call it what you want.
Yeah.
They're Nazis.
They're
Yeah.
an alternative to Nazis. Am I right?
Yeah. So the point being is that it was much more real. And like, yeah, Wonder Woman hit some like deep stuff. So I'm really proud of it for
So
that
proud.
alone. So moving on to something that is really cool is the Black Panther trailer that was just released. And I know that because this is a podcast, you guys can't see it yourself. But what we can do is we can watch it and we can tell you exactly what's going on. Does that sound cool with you guys?
Recap. Yeah, absolutely. Let's do this. Let's paint a picture. Let me paint you a picture.
What do you know about Wakanda?
Tell me, one-armed man, what do I know about Wakanda?
Wakanda.
Is it Martin Freeman? Sounds like you're lying.
Martin Freeman and Andy Serkis talking.
There's Tulio and Miguel.
Yep,
You can see them in the
that's
corner.
cool. It was in Africa.
The colors on this are amazing. And you get this like Batman in the jungle thing.
Don't shoot the dog! I don't know if he's attacking them because they were poachers or because they found Wakanda, or if he was just worried about the dog. I think he was just worried about the dog.
Homeward Bound 4.
A better Joker than Jared Leto.
I'm digging the music.
God, the costuming on this is amazing.
Jeez.
Michael B. Jordan. I love him so much. Oh, and Angela Bassett's looking like Storm. You guys
I know
notice
it's supposed to
that?
be commenting. It's just so stunning.
Full on Storm.
I'm gonna
We
chime
saw
in
this
about
a
the
lot.
car flip.
The
I've
car
seen-
flipping. I don't know.
Civil War was all car flips, right?
Yeah. Deadpool had a car flip in the
Yeah.
opening.
Yeah.
That's chills. Please don't make another one. Just keep this one. It's the only trailer we need. All right.
For the trailer, you're
Yeah.
saying like don't make another trailer.
Well, you're gonna give me too much.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm so disappointed in trailers these days. It's just spoiler after spoiler. Like especially with Thor 2, Thor Thor 3. It's the Ragnarok. Yeah, it's just they gave so much, much.
I don't think like every time. Okay, there's certain trailers that do show a lot, and you're like, "Fuck," and you go watch the movie, and you're like, "Yes, I got the basic points." I feel like that's more of these like comedies and stuff where they give away all the best jokes, right?
Yeah.
But for these superhero movies, I feel like people think it gives a lot away. But like, when was the last trailer that gave a lot away, and you watch the movie, and you're like, "Well, I know it now."
I mean, Underoos with Spider-Man and Civil War. I was like, man, what if I didn't know
Yeah.
going in?
Yeah, that
how
he was gonna show up.
But they needed to market him though.
I understand. Iron Man 3, I didn't know. He what's his name?
Ben
the
Kingsley?
Mandarin. Yeah,
Yeah.
Ben Kingsley
That
was going to
was gonna
be
be-
just an actor. I was like,
That
that's a
wasn't in the
great-
trailer.
I know
Oh,
that's what
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying. That was yeah. It was just like this is the best movie for doing that.
Yeah.
Wakanda.
I can see you. I can see you right there. I can see you right in your bloody nose. Blimey, the name's Monterey Jack.
What is that?
Yeah. You don't remember Chippendale Rescue Rangers? The
Yeah.
mouse.
Chippendale.
That's
Rescue Rangers.
Brie 86, the best cheese ever, ever made. Cheese.
He was the pilot,
you were
right?
Good. That was good.
He was the pilot,
Yeah.
No, he wasn't the pilot.
or was Gadget the pilot?
Gadget was the engineer.
Yeah,
What?
he was
I
the
guess
pilot. Yeah, he was.
He
the
was
pilot.
kind of like the pilot, but he was also like just the weathered adventurer. He picks up sand. He goes, sand, lemony. They're in Arizona. I'm like, what? I love this show.
Dimithri, you mentioned the color grading in the trailer, and it is stunning. And I'm so proud of Marvel for moving away from like the gray, bland tones that they were using. And ever since I think like Guardians changed the game for like the coloring, they've just started doing more vibrant, beautiful coloring in their post, and it looks so good.
Yeah. Something that I noticed was so Guardians 1 and 2 had this like space. There was a style to their space, right?
Yeah.
And so with Thor 3 Ragnarok, right? It's very similar to Guardians in that style. And so I feel like that's Marvel space now.
It's almost like they're connecting the universe.
Right. It's like Marvel Space is this architecture. It is this thing. And with this, though, it's very similar and it all kind of ties together in like a Jack Kirby style. So I feel like this was also in a similar style of Guardians and Thor 3 and everything.
We're definitely seeing like this new age of Marvel cinema, and it's really fantastic to kind of. It's almost like you're getting into the golden age of Marvel cinema, because if you look back and you watch as early as Civil War, I think they were still doing just this very bland color pass on all their movies.
Yeah.
And you've now like graduated. It's like they finally are like, you know what, this is us. This is Marvel.
Do you think they're gonna retouch it, kind of like what they do with these old World War I and II photos?
That'd be pretty fantastic.
They'd retouch their own movie only like a decade later.
I would love to see that because I've seen a couple of like GIFs on GIFs. If you're a terrible person,
I'd
I've
say
seen.
GIF.
Oh, you're a terrible
Are
person.
we going to argue about this
Awful.
right now? Don't. I've heard every argument for GIF versus GIF. and
We're,
it's
we're
like,
not going to argue. To each their own. The Roz and Raish thing, we'll just call it that.
Okay.
We'll call it that.
Are they gonna get together, Ross and Raish? I mean,
When are they going to tie the knot?
they had a baby.
yeah.
But I've seen some beautiful coloring done by fans, and it's just like, yes, Marvel, this is what you could be doing, and it's like they like saw that and they're like, you know what? We will do that. We will make our movies beautiful. Good for you, Marvel.
I find it interesting you're calling out Marvel for that, but DC is the biggest culprit of dulling down their.
I don't know that they dull it. Actually, what they do is they like can I say this? They crush their blacks. It's like really dark, but it is by no means dull. Like if you look at Wonder Woman's suit, it's beautiful.
Well,
Like
yeah.
it is
Yeah.
vibrant and bright.
Wonder
But
Woman
it's-
was different, though, right?
They still had CGI Nightmare at the end, and some of the night shots. I don't like blue lens, and I still get that in that movie.
Well, I think that's a lot of DC's like primary. Like, you're gonna see a lot of that like blue filter in all of like the DC stuff, which is so weird to me. Like, I don't know. I get it. I get what they're trying to do. It's a grim, dark universe, but
Shouldn't be for Superman.
He's the sunlight.
I don't know. Man of Steel wasn't that bad. Like there's some shots of Clark in the sun on the ranch with. It's beautiful, not Martha. It's gorgeous.
Well, the cinematography, yeah, but the gradient is overused, and especially in Superman. Like blue everything in Batman, right? But
Yeah.
like with Superman should be the day, and Batman should be the night. Right?
Dayman versus the Nightman. Yeah.
Nightman, the jazz sax player.
he has flute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about Black Panther. Angela Bassett looks like Storm.
Oh, yes.
Should have
Oh
looked.
my god.
And like there's a lot of blades coming around, a lot of flips and stuff. And like Michael B. Jordan is one of my favorite actors right now. And I'm just sad that he's relegated to a villain in this movie.
Are you sad, or is it nice to see him doing something different?
Well, I want him to play a villain, but I want him to play a villain that is over the whole franchise.
I mean, you don't know that he couldn't be.
The only person I've heard for Black Panther that's coming back after this movie, as far as like what I've heard, is one of the guys who's playing M'Baku, the man ape. He's in this movie and he's in Infinity Wars. But that's all I know, and I don't know if Michael B. Jordan's going to be playing a villain like further on, you know. But I don't know. He's like one of my favorites.
I mean, Creed is just phenomenal.
Well,
film,
yeah.
So
I mean, I for me, Michael B. Jordan, like I first watched him on Friday Night Lights, then on Parenthood, and this is TV, and then he went on to like do movies and stuff.
Fruitvale.
Yeah, Fruitvale Station. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm excited for him and his career. I just want more of him. But
Right.
dude, the designs on this are amazing.
Oh, phenomenal.
Even in their hair, like their hair alone, like makes the movie. Do you guys notice all the different hairstyles and stuff?
Well, there's hairstyles. There's a guy with the stone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, in
that
his lower
huge
lip?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
The design in general, just like they did such a great job. Like the aesthetic is beautiful, and you can see like this well-rounded culture. Just that it's inherent in Wakanda, and just like, yeah, this is absolutely. I believe that this is its own
well, and they're trying to like
society.
modernize our worldview of Africa, like they did in Civil War, because like Hulk versus Age of Ultron, they were in Africa too.
Yeah.
They weren't in Wakanda, but it was a very modern area.
It was South Africa, I think.
Yeah, South Africa.
In Age of Ultron, yeah.
Yeah. So like I kind of like to see that because I feel like Marvel's always been more progressive than DC in that aspect.
Yeah, I mean, also in media in general, we always portray Africa, the continent of Africa, as it's just one country.
Oh, I
and literally
know.
it's this one
So
ecosystem that is impoverished and it's like jungle on one side and like villages on the other side. And like
not even-
Africa's a continent that is huge, only slightly smaller than the continent of Asia. And like there's so many ecosystems and so many different countries with different histories that like, yes, it's nice to see Wakanda actually vibrant and new, right? And the way I'm looking at this all is Wonder Woman is my queen and T'Challa is my king right now, like as far as like comic books and like my geekiness, right?
I just think you're matchmaking almost.
No,
like,
I'm not
"How'd you
putting them
get-"
together.
No,
they
I'm
can
joking,
they
I'm
can be
joking.
separate. But what I'm saying is that they are the king and queen of what is to come.
We're absolutely seeing like this new empowerment of what we wouldn't have seen 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Like this never would have been made.
I thought Blade did a lot.
But it was so self-contained because
Oh yeah. I know.
yeah.
but on purpose. It was like we can do whatever we want, just don't let them touch us. That's what it was.
I mean, they are vampires, and yeah.
Well, yeah. Which actually, Blade is always the best when you deal with him being he's a black vampire. I think it's cool because he's like added levels of like mainstream culture being like, don't touch me,
Yeah.
right?
That's,
Like,
yeah. No, that's
it's like even if he was human, he would still have a hard time, right? And then he's a vampire,
Right.
it's a rough go at life.
Yeah. No, and he's half vampire, so like, oh
Accepted
man,
in neither.
yeah,
But he has all their strengths.
Yeah.
None of their weaknesses.
yeah, which is a good way of doing things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm super excited for Black Panther.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say. Yeah. And what were you saying about the like you don't want to see another trailer?
Oh, yeah. Sometimes, like nowadays, it's too much for me just because I know tropes and you read one Joseph Campbell book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully that the trailers don't give anything like more away. I just want to see some cool shots. I want to see. I would even just love to see like. I want Entertainment Weekly to do a full spread because they do that for all the white movies out there, and I'm afraid they're not going to do one for the black movie that's coming up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Rolling Stone did the Mummy cast because they're going to do a Dark Universe.
Yeah, we talked about that last week. Yeah,
Oh, gosh.
yeah. So like I'm gonna flip my shit
I would
if they
love-
don't do like a full spread of the actors.
Can you imagine how beautiful that would be?
Yeah.
Like
First thing, they are
they're
beautiful
gorgeous.
actors.
They're a
like-
gorgeous cast.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're just beautiful specimens.
Right.
Also, too, bald women. Like, we need to see more of that.
Oh,
'cause
yes.
Lupita Nyong'o is bald in this, right?
Yeah.
Or is she? I'm not quite sure. I would have to look back. But Denai Guerrera is bald. She wears the Michonne wig in Walking Dead.
Yeah.
But like she's in this.
Oh, wow.
Like it's gonna be a very attractive cast. I want to see them. I want to see Entertainment Weekly do a spread on them. And I'm calling you out, Entertainment Weekly, because you had fucking like those like the Amazons were cool, right? Let's do that. But like, yeah, Dark Universe. We don't need a spread on Dark Universe just yet. What we need is a Black Panther spread.
Unless Universal paid you, then we get it.
Well, then we understand.
Yeah, you gotta
then
keep it
Universal, you could pay us to stop talking about Black Panther. We could start talking about Dark Universe.
Yeah, just a goodie basket and a screening of The Invisible Man with Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
And,
I'm literally holding a pen that says Universal on the side. I don't know where I got that one from. Anyway,
there's red dots on our chests.
oh no. Yeah, Universal's gunning for us. So
Universe, I want you to notice that I didn't say anything about you.
but she wrote a lot of things, and I'll read it to you if you let me live.
Michael Bay helped me out with my anchor problems. So if you're...
Well, there you go. So something that I know that I wanna hit on something really hard before.
Another hard topic for you.
Yeah, we're
Just-
gonna. I want hard topics.
hit
All
it.
right. We're gonna hit it
and hit
like
it
we
and quit
can't
it.
miss.
Hard
Yeah.
topics come at you all day.
All right. I want to end this show talking about something that's really interesting in comics right now, and that's legacy heroes. And the way it's working is this. DC used to do a lot of it, right? DC was kind of based off of legacy heroes because they had a good 20 years before Marvel started doing their current universe, right? And so with DC, they kind of had like someone take on the Batman role, or even before that, the first type of legacy hero was when they decided to bring in Barry Allen Flash, and he was kind of based off of an homage to the original Flash of the World War II comics, right?
Jay Garrick.
And then Jay Garrick, and then Hal Jordan was brought in. These were all in Showcase comics. Hal Jordan was brought in as a homage to Alan Scott, Green Lantern. And they had different origins, but they were the next legacy. They were the silver age of comics. And Marvel is doing a lot more of it now than they used to do it. Marvel never really used to be legacy-based, and now they are. Paul, I know that you have some pretty interesting points as far as legacy heroes are concerned.
Yeah, so I guess there's a lot of I hate using this label, but I feel like it's accurate. Is neckbeard hate, like a lot of people that are seeing diversity and they're complaining that it's an affirmative action legacy system, and I don't think that's the real issue. The real issue is that you have to defame the current hero before someone else can step up and fully take the mantle. So, original sin. Let's start with Thor giving it to Jane Foster. Spoiler. Jane Foster has
been long
cancer,
enough.
and she is now worthy. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's been long enough.
Yeah, it's been long enough. And Nick Fury whispers into Thor's ear, and we don't know what he says, but now we know what he says. He said, Gore the God Butcher is correct, or is right about you. And that's why he drops the hammer, because he loses faith in himself. And apparently that's what worthy is believing in yourself. Because new Hydra Cap can pick up the hammer, and he's pure Hydra evil. So, and that's another case where...
Thanks for that, Marvel.
Yeah, we have Captain America, Falcon Captain America. Now he is full on, our new Captain America. We also have Amadeus Cho as the new Asian Thor.
No, Asian Hulk.
Or Asian Thor. Yeah, thank you. Asian Hulk.
There's a whole bunch of different ethnic Thors out there now.
Thor. Oh, yeah, yeah.
No,
but yeah, so, okay. And we had a bunch of Hulks. We had Red Hulk and Red She-Hulk, Ross and his daughter. And then
Rachel.
we had Rachel.
Wait, Ross. Oh, yeah.
General
Ross.
Thunderbolt
Ross as
With
Red
Ross
Hulk.
and then Raish.
Betsy
You're right.
Ross. Betty Ross.
Betty Ross.
Yeah. Betsy
Is-
Ross is the flag. Yeah.
Sure.
They're all joining the cast of Friends.
So they were all Hulks for a little bit, but right now, currently, Amadeus Cho is the Hulk, and in Civil War II, what's going on right now is they have the Minority Report where they can predict who's going to do what or what's going to happen,
Yeah.
and that's really killing their heroes because they're trying to interfere with time. So Bruce Banner, the kid that they have, had a premonition and was like, he's going to kill everybody. And so Bruce Banner had a deal with Hawkeye and was like, hey, if this happens, kill me. Don't let me know. Just shoot me with your arrow because you're the only guy that can do it. And he's dead now.
Yeah.
So
Bruce Banner's dead. So what I'm seeing is that, like, I get where you're getting at, that Thor had to lose his worthiness in order to bring Jane Foster in as the female Thor. But also that Bruce Banner had to die before you had to bring in Amadeus Cho, right?
Yeah.
That Cap had to turn old before Falcon brought on the shield, right?
Yeah. And their characters now condemned. So Hulk didn't even do anything wrong, but they predicted he would. And so he's just like...
There's no redemption arc.
Yeah.
It's just, that's it. You're done.
Yeah. So maybe Marvel's doing it in a little bit of a wrong way in that sense.
I don't know. I mean, DC's certainly, culpable in that as well. Like, they completely defamed Hal Jordan.
Parallax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one's going to forget that. Like,
Yeah, I got so many rings.
Yes and no. Hal Jordan at least turned... Okay, that was just kind of like their like going arc of like making people like that were good into bad guys. Like not about legacy stuff, right? It was like they're like...
You brought on Kyle Rayner after that.
But it was a couple years later.
Yeah.
It was they had a little gap in time in which there was no Green Lanterns.
Yeah.
That they didn't have. They didn't like just bring them on just to bring them on.
And that was following the death of Superman and breaking the bat with Bane and Bat or Nightfall.
Yeah.
So
There were legacy heroes that were brought on in the 90s that were about that. So Azrael took on the mantle of Batman. Steel. There was the 4 Supermen, right? They had that whole arc where Superman has died, and now they're bringing that on. Artemis from Wonder Woman took on Wonder Woman's mantle. Kyle Rayner took on Hal Jordan's ring, not his specific ring, but Connor Hawke, Oliver Queen's son, took on Green Arrow. But a lot of these heroes actually had to die first. You're right. I mean, in that sense, I believe Parallax was dead by the time Kyle Rayner.
Oh yeah.
And the only time they fought was because Parallax was traveling through time, in which that's why they fought.
And his redemption is Parallax is the fear entity.
Later, it
Oh,
was a retcon.
Oh, it was retcon. Okay.
Yeah, that it was a fear. Basically, originally it was that Hal Jordan basically the reason Hal Jordan went evil was because, long story short, Superman died. There was a vacuum in time in which some villains like Mongol decided to come into Earth because Superman can't fight him, and he bombs Coast City.
Yep.
Along with Cyborg Superman. And so he bombs Coast City, and this would be like Gotham literally being destroyed and Batman
But it was.
like what?
It was.
Yeah. Like in
Thanks, earthquakes.
Oh yeah.
Oh, with No
Yeah.
Man's Land?
No Man's
Yeah.
Land,
But with Hal Jordan, this was a city that we grew up or not we grew up, but comic readers grew up reading about, and suddenly everybody's dead.
Gone.
And Hal Jordan wants to have ultimate power in order to turn back time and to recreate his city from scratch. And so nobody agreed with him, and then he went evil. But I don't know. I liked that back then.
Yeah.
DC had a history of making legacy heroes. Wally West was the Flash at this time because Barry died in the Crisis. And so maybe death is way better than like the defamation. Like Thor, for instance, was defamed. I don't feel like Bruce Banner had that.
I'm just saying that they were basically is indictment the thing they're accusing him of just slaughtering him like the heroes without any like thought to it.
But that was the overarching point of Civil War II, right? And
Yeah, except that Rhodey dies and Iron Man challenges that. Also, he's having an existential crisis. The other thing I think that Marvel was doing was Superior Spider-Man kind of opened this up, was just, let's just make everybody an asshole, you know? So you have Doc Ock inside of Peter Parker's body, just, oh, this is going to be my fun time.
yeah.
And you had Superior Iron Man, where he gave everybody the Secret of Youth, or the Fountain of Youth in San Francisco,
Yeah.
but made it an app on a phone.
So you have to pay subscription to.
Yeah, and it's like, wow, what
That
a
was
jerk.
a weird thing, but that was only because of Axis.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What happened with Axis, and then the good turned bad and bad turned good, and whatever, they flipped their polarity.
Right.
So it was kind of weird in that sense. I don't know. I buy the DC one a little bit more, the DC Legacy, because that's part of their universe. At least it was before New 52.
Yeah.
That's kind of what was sucked, because there was the Justice Society, which dealt with the older heroes, and then there was the Justice League. But there were so many different teams of varying ages,
Yeah.
and they all kind of worked together. And they would team up if there was some big threat, but like the Justice Society was a bunch of old heroes teaching young heroes, and that's kind of how it ended, really.
Even the Legion of Superhero is teaching young Superboy and Supergirl.
Well, it
you
depends
know,
on the incarnation of Legion.
Yeah. Brainiac 13?
Brainiac 5.
Five.
Sorry. 5.
Squirrel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, I think it's gonna be my next cosplay costume.
Yeah?
Brainiac 5.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
thinking about it. Yeah.
I'll be your Lyle. Your Lyle Nord.
The Invisible Kid?
I love him.
No, I'm not playing the gay version. But I
Not
am drawing some of the iconography from him into like merging them all together.
Wade did such a great job on that book. It was such
Mark
a good
Wade,
run.
yeah. Did he do the third run of the one that was like, we're teens and we're like, this is our revolution?
Yeah.
Did he do that one?
He did that one.
Because then he did, that was not the gay Brainiac.
No,
one.
that was before that.
Yeah, gay Brainiac was before. That was the 90s Legion run, right? Yeah.
But he wasn't
Were
gay.
the-
He was definitely like, I'm into all things, which as
Oh,
an
was he?
alien, you
Pan?
probably should. Yeah, he was pansexual.
He is a robot and an alien.
He wasn't a robot. He's only a robot in the cartoon, because Brainiac's not a robot technically.
Oh, okay.
Because
yeah.
in the comics, he's a Kaluan,
Yeah.
right? And so he's like just a green skinned alien. So anyway, that's my next cosplay costume. Anyway, so as far as the legacy here, I feel though that like people are having problems with like minorities
Oh, yeah.
coming into the legacy.
Miles Morales as the Spider-Man in
Yeah.
Ultimates.
Which is so weird to me. Like, why couldn't you do Homecoming with Miles? Because it's his story.
Oh. Oh, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Sorry, what were you saying?
No, it's kind of like upsetting. You see so much of Miles Morales' story in Homecoming, and it's just like, why wouldn't you just do Miles Morales?
Which is weird because there's a guy who looks just like Genki, but he's Ned Leeds.
But he's yeah.
Which doesn't make sense. And like, I don't know. It's just really weird to me. Why couldn't you? Well, I mean, at that point, you might as well do Ned Leeds, as well as Flash Thompson not being a bully.
Yeah.
Which is weird, and he's played by the shrimpy kid from Dope.
Oh.
Good.
He was in Grand Budapest Hotel.
Yeah.
You know that kid? That's what the kid I'm talking
Wait,
about.
so Ned Leeds isn't going to be Hobgoblin in this?
In this, he looks just like Genki, so I don't know.
Oh,
They're just
okay.
doing whatever the fuck they want. But as far as like diversity heroes, people are always like, well, why don't you just make them an original character? Like, why do you have to spoil Spider-Man? First thing, why are you spoiling Spider-Man by having him train a younger Spider-Man? Second, if you bring him up as a original character, you fuckers aren't gonna read that character anyway. So you're just saying, why don't you just put somewhere where I don't have to see him? That's really what you're saying. So Miles Morales does not spoil Peter Parker. Peter Parker has been growing older as time has gone on. So Peter Parker's almost this Tony Stark type character now. Miles Morales is what Peter Parker was, but now, right? He's this kid that's still dealing with his stuff. I think that's the best way to do that because you can have character growth, and then you could bring on this character that kind of brings on the more iconic stuff.
Exactly. And you're talking to like a new generation, and our generational issues are going to be different than what was written about for Peter Parker in, the early 90s.
Also, how could he pay rent on a photographer's salary
Right?
in
Are we
New
gonna
York
talk about
today?
that? Yeah.
Gentrified New York
Yeah.
and Queen.
The property's owned by Raish.
Yeah. Miles Morales still lives with his parents. A lot of these teen heroes and these like younger heroes are still living with their parents.
I love that.
Oh.
Which is very interesting. Kamala Khan,
Yeah,
pretty much the
thank
you.
cast
Yeah.
of the new champions. New champions, which is Kamala Khan, Nova, right?
Yeah.
Sam Alexander.
yeah.
So great. I love his book.
Yeah, it just ended. Because they brought Richard Rider back from the dead, and they had him team up,
It's
and
such a good
they ended his series. But all these characters are living at home with their parents, which is, I mean, yeah.
Well,
I think
and-
it's funny in this day and age.
I know, and like Kamala Khan's like first story really, I don't know, normalizes it, like their family dynamic and their personalities, and like more representation makes us less racist. Who knew?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just getting used to this culture, and like, if you don't want to read Kamala Khan, her comic, you're missing out. First thing,
It's phenomenal. Like,
Right.
It's great.
and if you don't feel like she's worthy of the Miss Marvel title, well, first thing, fuck you. Second thing, why? Like, what has she done that's not worthy of the title? What has Miles Morales done that's not worthy of the Spider-Man title? Is it the fact that you think that there should be one Spider-Man? Because you guys complained about clones, but you guys didn't complain that there was another Spider-Man when there was another Spider-Man.
You love Venom, and
Right.
When he
It's
turned,
exactly what it is. It's
Like,
like
you know,
You didn't complain about beta, like, I don't know,
no
like,
one's complaining about Ken wearing a red headband and being exactly like Ryu. Like, just fuck you.
yeah.
he gave for you that
No,
red
nobody,
headband.
nobody was complaining when
His long blonde locks. I have fan fiction.
well, talking about long block
May I read
locks,
that later?
long blonde locks is Eric Masterson, who was Thunder Strike.
Yeah.
You didn't complain about him being a replacement Thor, no, because he was white and he was blonde, just the way Thor should be.
But
and
Jon
I get
Stewart
the way
and
that
Guy Gardner show up.
yeah, I get the fact that
Guy
like
is such a treasure to the Green Lantern
well
series.
yeah,
It's
he
just-
rounds them out.
Those Guardians really screwed him over.
Right. So I'm ranting here, right? It's just like you didn't complain because that's the way Thor should be, right? But here's the thing: is like all these characters are written at a certain time period, and if they were always the way that Thor should be or the way these superheroes should be, it's not going to be representative anymore, right?
It's definitely absolutely indicative of the society in which they were written and how we've grown from that, or at least I hope that we've grown from it.
And
Yeah.
Aren't comic book readers supposed to be the social outcasts? So we do need more stories to help out with, like Bobby Drake right now is gay, new X-Men.
Yeah.
And I'm watching him and Kid Apocalypse. It's weird saying that. Go out to like gay clubs and talking to, and flirting. And it's awkward for them because, and
well,
you
Kid
need
Apocalypse
those.
not gay though.
No, he
don't
went to
think
the
he-
club to break the ice.
Yeah,
he can
yeah, yeah.
dance.
Break the ice.
Bum, 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 bum.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Okay. So here's an interesting. Let's talk real quick about that before we wrap things up. But the way the comics is right now is that the younger version of the X-Men, the original 5 X-Men, have been brought forward in time to our modern day in order to show the modern day heroes what they used to be like, and that there still can be good, right? That you used to aim to do good, and now you're just fighting against each other, right?
Sure.
And so with that, Jean Grey looks into young Iceman's mind. He finds out that he is gay. And a lot of people did not like that. And I know that I wasn't a fan for 2 reasons. One of which is you can't have young Iceman be gay and old Iceman not be gay, because it's literally the same person. Yeah. So because that's almost like he chose to be gay in one and he wasn't gay in the other, like how it's not him. You know what I mean?
It's a contrived retcon is
Yeah.
what it feels like.
Yeah.
But they say that there's clues.
Yes. So here's the thing, is that there are people out there that have identified themselves as straight that have been gay the whole time. So they may have been having relationships with women. They can be womanizers. They can be what have
Are we
you.
talking about Johnny Storm?
Do you feel like Johnny Storm is gay?
I feel like Johnny Storm and Peter Parker would be just delightful together.
No. Peter Parker's not gay.
He's not gay, but
No.
they would be delightful together.
I mean, they have really good abs. So
Well, they all do. So
they were roommates at a point in time.
Yeah.
They were just delightful.
I just want them to be roommates. Let's just be roommates.
yeah,
You know?
just guys being guys,
showering together.
as you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Paul and I have never showered together. But we have
Why are
really
you
great
lying?
abs. No. So point being was with his Iceman is like, yeah. I think what they're just trying to say is that current Iceman has been in the closet for so long, you know? And really our identifiers as gay and straight, like, it's really that Iceman has been, like, bi and has not been able to be with men, right? Because he's been bi but identified as straight, right? Is that kind of like the way it is? Because he's had sex with women, right? And he's like
X Factor.
and these these identifiers fires are very like fuzzy, but
I know it's labels. I've heard though by people, if they're one way, then they're locked in until
like
I don't know. I think I transitioned pretty easily into like men and women. Like my first relationship was with a girl, and that lasted like a couple of years, and then I jumped right into another relationship with another girl, and then I met a guy, and I liked that. But I feel like you don't stop liking one or the other.
Oh,
yeah,
sure.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah. But I think it's like this binary way of like looking at things is like, what do you identify as?
Yeah.
There's definitely like a coding that like is so inherent in our society today, and it's never, sexuality has always been a very fluid and kind of open thing. Like you either like something or you don't, and that changes as you grow as a person.
Yeah.
Dimithri doesn't like VR porn now.
But talk to us in 15 years, and the
And
technology's
they make
better.
a Lego Batman VR porn.
And he's all about it.
And he's just like, oh, I like those Duplo bricks.
That would hurt. First
More
of all.
to love.
That would hurt.
It's gonna
first of all.
line that with a sponge.
Oh, Clayface, you're my everything.
So, Clayface. But anyway,
Why wouldn't you?
Clayface.
Yeah.
Out of all the shape-shifting characters in comics that you can have sex with, you would want to do the one that looks like doo-doo.
In his rawest form, wouldn't you just want to just like imagine that just like suctioning around you, just like
There's 500 German businessmen with a glass table that would argue.
What? What is that? What does that mean?
It's over your head. It's fine.
okay.
Okay. All right. Anyway, so really quick, as far as legacy heroes, what does that mean?
Is the Keeg like all ages?
No, it's not. We've been dropping fucks all the time.
Okay.
We have a little explicit, like an E thing. Anyway,
E for everybody.
For everyone.
no.
Categories.
So we got to wrap everything up. I just wanted to know that, what's your last final thought as far as legacy heroes are concerned? Paul, I'll let you go first.
Legacy. Okay, so diversity is great, but it's no excuse for like poor storytelling or sloppy writing. And I just wish people would compartmentalize all those things before throwing out the nerd rage, because we are in an outrage society, and I wish we would have more nuance and take our time.
It's true.
unpacking.
We are a very reactive society now. Like, we are a very reactive society now. Like, it's interesting that the age of the internet has allowed us to just spew immediately without any thought for like, maybe I should consider X, Y, and Z factor. But it's just very reactionary, that the response that we have, and I'm guilty of it too. I mean, I watch trailers. I'm like, why'd you give everything away? And then I think, oh, you know what? Maybe there's more to this story that they're not showing us, as a trailer should do. But back on the topic of legacy heroes, I'm a huge fan of the Robins, and you can absolutely see the legacy trend inherent in that, in the replacement of them over the years. So I can only speak to that in a very personal sense, in that the defamation of a character, you see like Jason Todd get crapped on all the time for being such a poor Robin. And it's interesting that you wind up seeing the worst of characters that you love in the service of the character that's to follow. So in the New 52, and I think in Rebirth, they had to dumb Tim Drake down in order to make room for Duke. Which, if you read, New Earth, like, you're just like, this isn't the Tim Drake that I grew up and loved. And so I feel like you're seeing that now with some of the Marvel characters. Like, well, why would you write Hydra Cap if you have this Captain America? And it's very interesting. It's a very interesting trend that we're seeing. But I try to remember that, comics are absolutely our new mythology, in that they are constantly being redone, reinterpreted, and you're going to see iterations of them that, even though you might not agree, is not the definitive version of your character. Like, you will always find a comic out there that has your Robin, and you will always find a comic out there that has your ideal Thor and your ideal Captain America. And we should welcome and embrace these new stories, because they offer a different window of what's possible in comic books. And, nothing's forever. We'll see another reboot in 2 years, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, Batman Inc. I mean, you want to talk about legacy?
Let's talk about legacy.
Oh,
let's talk
jeez.
about a global operation.
Yeah, my opinion as far as legacy characters, real quick, is just that, look, bad writing happens all the time.
All the time.
With
Yeah.
all different types of characters and all different stories and whatnot. I think that there is a shorter fuse when it comes to bad writing for minority characters, diverse characters, because of, I think that, like, the cultural racism of it all. Like, I see that. And that, like, maybe you can point out that, like, maybe you didn't like a legacy character that was white, but there is just a general shorter fuse when it comes to the diversity characters that are coming in. And again, bad writing kind of is all over the place, like, right?
Yeah.
Bad writing knows no bounds. It's not that these characters are all written badly. Maybe some of them are. Maybe some of them aren't your taste, but stop getting outraged at it. And I mean, it'd be outraged at, like, you're in an all-white class and suddenly this foreign brown kid comes into class, and suddenly you're like, why doesn't he just, like, go into his own class, right? Where I don't have to look at him. Why can't we just keep my class the way it is? Nothing against him. I just like my friends the way they are. You know what I mean? But it's like, come on, dude. Like, times are changing. And we can really learn something from all these, like, really cool characters that are being introduced. I mean, that's pretty much my 2 cents worth.
There's room for everyone in this sandbox.
Yeah.
Also, like, comics, it's not this sacred cow.
It's not, yeah.
We're supposed to be, putting intellect and forwarding and progress above everything. Like you said earlier, like, not as many people are embracing Star Trek, but Star Trek was really
It really paved the way for diversity
ahead of
and
the
these
time.
just this
Yeah.
huge, like, embracing of, like, different cultures and different
Questions on gender,
questions on like how society should be run. Just
Yeah.
you had this beautiful like voyage into what we could be, and I feel like comics, we need to embrace the fact that comics can be that too.
Yeah. Read Why the Last Man. Read
Oh, so good.
Girls is really good. I don't know if you remember
Paper
that.
Girls is really good, actually, to build on that.
Yeah.
Paper Girls is a lot of fun. Bitch Planet is
Yeah.
great.
Unfortunately, that's all the time that we have for today's show. I'd like to thank Sam Young and Paul Lau for being guests on this show. I really appreciate having you guys here. Sam, where can people find you, hear you, taste you, touch you? I don't know if that's...
Well, I appreciate being had, so
Yeah.
you can find me at Sam Young on Instagram and see my beautiful face. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's not. Please don't find me.
Okay. Don't look her up. Paul, what do you got going on coming up?
Okay, so I'll be in Sunnyvale at a Comic-Con doing stand-up, and then I'm also doing a coffee shop in the same area on the 16th and the 17th. And then also I have, in September, the Cambodian Film Festival, where I'll also be doing some stand-up with some other Cambodians. You can find me at Paul Lau Jokes, Paulao Jokes, on Twitter. And that's it.
Paul's the man to find. We're going to start a man hunting party for Paul.
Mm-hmm.
You can follow me around the country as we stalk him.
Cambodian manhunter.
Boy,
I
that
watched
Martian manhunter really that's super specialized. 0.2% of the population.
Thank you guys so much for listening in. It was great having you. We are on iTunes now on the podcast app, so you guys can, if you guys aren't listening to us there, you guys can find us there. We'd appreciate all the views and listens too. Spread the word. We're also on Facebook, where we update news a lot. So any comic or geek news that you guys need, you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/thekeeg. We are also on Twitter and Instagram at The Keeg Show, right? You can check us out there, tweet us, ask us any questions. You can hashtag The Keeg right there. And then we're also on YouTube. If you just look up The Keeg, you will find us. Thank you so much for listening to The Keeg. Once again, I'm your host, Dimithri Perera, and this is me signing off.
Na 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 na